So we're talking now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Okay.
You've never done the mic?
Uh,
Can I
I
tell you
know.
a fun fact about me?
Yes, please.
In the seventh and eighth grade, I'll never forget this. I used to be the TV reporter for the morning news of the school.
That's so cute. Oh my God.
I know. You're like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It
You
was,
you have a good radio voice too, I feel like.
do I? You
Yeah.
think so?
Yeah, you have a very smooth voice.
I feel like I would get canceled. Every time I try it, I feel like this is why I don't do it. Okay.
Good tenants versus bad tenants. What makes a good tenant a good tenant?
You change your air filters.
Yes.
That's the immediate
It's the
one.
only thing.
You change your air filters. I'm sorry, but just if you know air filters can cause thousands of dollars of damages for
Yep.
something that just costs $15.
And you can't make people change their air filters, and you can't even make them tell you when they're not changing them. I don't know why people lie to me about it. They're like, yeah, I changed my air filter. I'm like, you clearly did not change your air filter.
The leak says otherwise.
Exactly. Like,
The
why didn't you just tell me
condensation.
the truth?
Your work order asking why your AC is not working
Is
says
the
otherwise.
answer. It's like,
Yeah.
the guy will go over and the tech calls me. He's like, I don't think this has ever been changed since the system was been installed. I have multiple invoices saying that.
I think a bad tenant is the opposite of it. Someone who just doesn't report any maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can fix it, or
Keep
I'll
it on
get on a
record.
Google Meet and I'll do it with you. Or I'll even
Just get on
show
the
up to your
record.
house. Like, I showed up at this one property. I was over there, like, opening it with a screwdriver.
They probably were surprised because they've never seen a property manager do that.
They've never seen a property manager ever.
Most of them are like faceless. That's what I'm going through.
Just,
He's grifting.
yeah, that's a great word. Okay, my fiance uses that word all the time. He's like, grifters. He'll start naming them. He watches another YouTuber, and they're kind of ahead with that stuff. And whenever he hears somebody, they bring him up in the podcast. And whenever he sees them get brought up, he's like, grifter, grifter. They're like ahead of it. It's like, oh, yeah.
I was spoiled enough to be a grifter. You want to know who else are grifters? Squatters. You want to know who else are grifters? Squatters.
They are. They're completely. It's like, and I don't blame them either, though, because they're desperate. I'm like, all right.
Wait,
fine.
have you ever had a squatter situation?
Yes. When properties are listed for sale, they're often, especially some of these nicer homes, a lot of these nicer homes are listed and they're staged and they're vacant and it takes longer to sell them. Yeah, but it's not real squatting. They're not trying to keep your property, but it's like beautifully staged. So they just go in at night. It's like a hotel. They just stop by at like 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
Yep. They shower. They get changed. They dry up. You don't even notice they're there. The only reason you catch them, and like, I swear, they're like, I've seen multiple real estate agents. They walk in on like someone sleeping in the bed. Yep.
I would be mortified. I know that I've had colleagues that have been like prospects show up for a tour and then they're met with people inside the property.
Oh.
Like full blown door locked, not letting you in kind of squatters.
Oh, those are, yep, that's a true story.
Question, you're about to get canceled for this. Do squatters deserve rights?
Oh God, why would you ask me something like that? That's terrible. All people should have all of the rights at all times, no matter who they are. I believe in humanity. Humans are people too.
I believe they don't need rights. Squatters don't need rights. Squatters per se don't need rights. I feel like because it's not your property. Why do you like?
But nobody's using it. Like, who are
it don't matter. You ain't paying rent. I believe that squatters need access to resources. So, like, if they're ever in a situation where they're squatting, I feel like the police should have the right to come in and turn the property over to the property owner, and the police should have resources already in place for that situation.
Okay.
So, like, expanding homeless shelters.
So hear me out. All of the vacant buildings in DC.
Yes.
Just take them.
Office buildings, yeah.
Just building, or like, the vacant and blighted property list.
Yes.
Just be like, if your property is vacant for more than 6 months, the city's going to come in. They're going to do a paint job. They're going to make sure there's working plumbing, working heat, and they're going to stick the squatters into your property. When you decide that you are ready to pay your taxes,
yes,
and you are ready to do this and you're ready to do that, we will hand the property back to you, and we'll even let you keep all the renovations. But in the meantime, these homeless people need to live in something other than hotels or on the street. So we're going to, speaking of unpaid invoices, what do you do when somebody who is going through bankruptcy tells you that the legal process is not for them? I believe I'm quoting that correctly.
Pending.
You said, okay, you need to pay me my money for the work that you performed and for the actual materials. And you just got that email that said, and I believe I'm quoting here.
Yeah.
The legal process is not for me, is not going to work for me. And you saw that person.
We'd have to take it off the record. Like, We'd go full blown. I think I'd go crazy because to think that like you do invest all this time. I think that I would honestly I'd ask them about it. Especially if I saw them in public
To
and
their
they were
face.
dining out.
That's
Imagine.
you know what's so funny? That's karma because that's what that person used to do all the time.
I believe it.
They would.
I
That
believe
person would come in and they would see somebody who owed a debt and they would walk right up and they would say, and they would call them out in front of the whole restaurant.
it. Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, the way that karmic relief would happen would be that I would grow big enough to be able to buy them.
That's always been your dream.
It truly is. My goal is to be able to buy something that's failing under someone else and make it into profit.
Really.
So what would you do if someone owed you a debt and they told you legal is not gonna work? And they also had mountainous of legal, like other people.
Do you want to know what I would really do?
Because yeah, people need to pay you.
I think I want to be a renter for the rest of my life so that I can understand what it's like. Because when you stop being a renter, you forget. You forget what is hard about like living with no AC for 3 days. Like you think in your head, but like when you're living with no AC for 3 days, you remember how terrible that is.
If you're a homeowner and you can't afford the invoice though for an HVAC,
that's
guy,
but
that's
the tenants, but the homeowners forget because let's say I owned this place where we are right now.
Yeah.
Now let's say that I had to pay $4,000 for an HVAC replacement HVAC. Guess what? I would be putting socks down right now. I would not be calling my landlord, right? But as the homeowner, $4,000, but I live here. I get to decide when I want to put socks on. As the tenant, that lack of control and never knowing if something is going to get fixed, when it's going to get fixed, and you can't do anything about that, that helplessness, that power dynamic is why I want to be a renter. I want to always have that feeling. So like, as long as I own a property management company, I want to rent so that I can experience that power dynamic. The legal process is not going to work. That person is gently trying to tell you, I am judgment proof. And what judgment proof means is I have so many claims against me, none of these fuckers are getting paid.
Yeah.
So that's why like that's why I understand you would go crazy if you saw that person because there's nothing you can do once you're judgment proof. Like I used to would you
It sounds like we need to get a baseball bat.
Yes. And it's infuriating to be in that position.
Girl, it is. I'm so used to seeing losses. It's not work phone. Who's calling me? Oh, please. Let's answer this live with you guys. Thank you for calling Adonis Property Management. This is Franklin speaking. Just give Washington Gas a call and they'll be able to look your account up if it didn't process online. Oh, okay. Then yeah, they would have your account number should be active, or they would have sent you an email confirming that your account number was created. And then if it was, just confirm your start date. That's for tomorrow. Part of your movement process is going to be providing those account numbers. So if you can just give them a call back and just get those account numbers for me, that would be great. But I do recommend getting renter's insurance. You know, if something were to happen in the home, whether there's a fire, water, you know, you want to still be protected for your personal belongings. Usually you let them know. Okay. All right. If you have any other questions. Yeah, I'll be at the property at 11 a.m. A live phone call. Preparing for a move-in, y'all.
Wow. You were way nicer than I am. I remember the call earlier.
Yeah.
I straight up hung up on that person in the middle of a sentence. I do not do phones. I don't do phones. Don't call me.
I do. So I like handling it. If it's something like that, like, yeah, just get out the way. Yeah.
I can't stand talking to people on the phone. I have like a visceral reaction later. I want to like punch the phone. I want to like throw the phone across the room.
I'm okay with it.
I think I have phone burnout. I don't have email burnout. I'm always happy. I'm like thrilled when people leave me. I'm like,
no, give me a phone call. Get that over with. Answer all your questions.
I think this is a wrap.
Yeah, this is a wrap.
This is a wrap. Bye, everyone.
Bye, you guys.